While it focuses on a few central characters, The Lions of Al-Rassan by Guy Gavriel Kay has an ambitious scope and sense of adventure. Coupled with Kay's prose style, when reading this book, it's easy to envision it as one of those old, big, historical Hollywood movies, like Spartacus, Ben-Hur, Lawrence of Arabia, or even Braveheart or Gladiator. Though there is a lot of internal action in the novel, there's a strong visual component too, which makes it easy to picture much of what transpires. The book also has what I call earned melodrama, in that when people or events are in heightened tension, it comes across as believable given the circumstances and actions of the characters. Another author who could do this is Charles Dickens, who knew how to use just enough melodrama to achieve the emotional results he wanted. In film, the creator who achieves this most often is Steven Spielberg, and certainly not his non-union Mexican equivalent, Señor Spielbergo. The whole story gets told in about 500 pages. Anyone who wants to read a good fantasy novel but doesn't want to start some multi-volume collection that runs into the thousands of pages and contains a deep cosmology barely hinted at in the source material should really try out this one-shot. There are other novels by Kay connected loosely to this setting, but they don't form a cohesive series. I'll go out on a limb and say that endless franchises and sequels and prequels and expansions and reboots and reimaginings are less an artistic choice than a financial one. This book, however, achieves its completeness by centering the action on just a handful of characters. On occasion, a chapter will occur focusing on a secondary or tertiary character, and this is often done for setting context. The bulk of the plot, though, deals only with about 5 primary characters, making it easy to follow the narrative. Though this is classified as a fantasy novel, the fantastical elements are pretty marginal. Beowulf has more magic and monsters in it than the Lions of Al-Rassan does. The stumbling blocks in the story are few but noticeable. Several times, the same information gets repeated, and not even from another character's perspective, so this redundancy doesn't add anything except to the page count. Though all the major characters are fully developed, Rodrigo Belmonte gets shortchanged a bit. Unlike other characters who we see live up to their reputations on the page, Rodrigo doesn't get the full treatment. We do get to see him be brave, honorable, and an incredible swordsman. However, a big part of his reputation is as a tactical genius who has earned the fear and scorn of the Asherite kingdoms of Al-Rassan, and we never really get to see this aspect of him in action. Seeing as he is one of the main characters, this oversight stands out. There is an element which I do not think is a flaw, but might not be what readers expect, and that's the nature of the plot. Firstly, there is a sense in which the prologue can be seen as the climax, and the rest of the novel is falling action as a result of what happens in it. This view certainly holds true for much of the national level of the novel. Essentially, Al-Rassan is a country in decline, and the whole novel is an exploration of a nation falling apart. Secondly, among the characters, the direction of the plot seems to change from what is set up on several occasions. Readers are led into an expectation of the novel to move in one direction, only for that complication to be resolved, leaving the characters a bit aimless for stretches at a time. All these complaints and criticisms are minor in comparison to the otherwise consistent excellence of the book. What else is like The Lions of Al-Rassan? Other books by Guy Gavriel Kay, like Song for Arbonne or the Sarantine Mosaic duology, are the obvious places to begin, as they have the same general tone and themes. Strangely, The Princess Bride has a number of commonalities with this book, namely that the breadth of what occurs is quite remarkable. War, romance, duels, poetry, political intrigue, surgery, assassination, religious zealotry, it's all here. El Poema de Mio Cid is a major source of inspiration, specifically for the character of Rodrigo. However, the folk hero of Spain, Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, El Cid, even in his own lionizing epic, showing him as brave and honorable, he comes across as more of a mercenary, adventurer, and opportunist than Kay's chivalric warrior philosopher who shares some of his name and background. If the setting is interesting to you, then you may want to look for reputable sources that write histories of Iberia under Islamic rule and the Reconquista, because those are the historical elements that the author uses to craft his setting and some of the larger events in the book. They are fascinating subjects in their own right. If you want to advocate for Lions of Al-Rassan, Kay's other books, or something else, go on and put it in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my peculiar notions. If you appreciate what I'm doing and want to aid in the unending struggle against the vicissitudes of the YouTube algorithm, you know what to do. You may also want to stop by another channel you listen to sometimes and leave a comment, like, or subscribe there too. Until next time, please live and be well.